Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm here to share with you all of the books I read in February. If you don't know, 2024 was a rough start for my family and I. Last month I read 5 books, which was, it's not the worst, but it's not the best. It was just a lot going on. And February continued to be the same. I read, I guess, 6 things technically, or 7. I'll get into more of that, but I'm sure I've told you guys in January, my father-in-law had a lot of health struggles and he still is, and that's still ongoing. It's not, as I say, emergent as it is, but that could change any day, it's just one of those things. And then when February hit, I am not kidding, the minute February hit, sickness took over. And I'm sure if you're a parent or if you just live in a house somewhere, you get it. Like, it's winter time. It's just how it goes. In the span of the first 2 weeks in February, my son brought home the stomach bug, which he spread to all of us, which was not fun. I got a cold in the middle of the stomach bug, which I shared with everyone. And then literally the last sickness was strep throat, which I only had, which was, I'm very fortunate. I wore a mask, but still I was like, that was within a span of like 2 weeks. And I was like, I know a lot of people are dealing with that. It's like never ending. I would like to say that, we got all the sicknesses out at once, but then again, my son developed a cough last night. So who knows? It's just, I am waiting for warmer weather as my shirt says summer. You know what? This year I'm going to embrace the insane oppressive heat Virginia has, because at least it means maybe less germs and less sicknesses. One can hope, because man, blah. So I only read 6 things. I'm going to talk about them. I don't know, when I do my wrap-ups, I start with my least favorite thing, working up to my favorite thing. Before I get into the 6 full-length books, I do want to talk about some novellas I read. And I did rate them technically on Goodreads, but I feel weird rating novellas. So Kindle Unlimited came out with a collection. It's called the Improbable Meet Cute Collection. I believe on Valentine's Day. I just read them literally not too long ago. I believe there's 6 of them. I read 4 of them, and I'm not going to tell you what they're about. They're literally just meet cutes. Either the characters know each other or they're having a meet cute. They're all super short. They're all like 45 pages or less. I will say that, but Christina Lauren's one was 101 pages, but it was mostly email, so it went by really fast. So in case you're looking for a really cute collection, I would recommend this one. The 4 I read The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren. Super cute. Like, if I'm honest, if I could just give this a rating as a novella, I would give it a 5. I loved it. Then I read Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Hemezin. Again, a 5 out of 5. That was super, super meet cute. Super cute meet cute. I loved it. 5 out of 5 again. Then I read Rosie and the Dreamboat, which might be my favorite because I just thought it was so... Gosh, that one was so mushy cute. I really enjoyed it. That was by Sally Thorne. Loved it. 5 out of 5. And the last one I read was With Any Luck by Ashley Poston. Again, I would maybe say this one's a 4 out of 5. Maybe 5. I don't know. I love them all. The 2 I did not read was Drop, Cover, and Hold On by Jasmine Guillory, because I have read like 5 Jasmine Guillory books. They are all interchangeable to me. I could not tell you what any of them are about because they're all the same. So I was like, I could read this novella, but do I really want to? No. And the one I still might read, because I haven't read anything by this author, is called Royal Valentine by Sarah Wilson. I haven't read anything by her, so I think I might read that tonight. But either way, I just wanted to throw that in there. These do, I guess, technically count for each individual book on Goodreads. I'm combining them into one, but they're super cute. I would recommend any of them. They were all amazing. So now moving on to the full-length novels I read. So first up, my least favorite was No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I literally just finished this today as a filming, and it's my second adult Kate Alice Marshall book that I've read, and I haven't enjoyed. So I think I might just have to hang up my hat on her, because I'm just, her plot sounds intriguing, and then I get into them, and I do get intrigued, but by halfway, I'm like, this is so boring, I don't care. And then by the end, reveals happen, I'm just like, I gave it a 3 out of 5. This is about 3 sisters, 2 murders, and too many secrets to count. It follows Daphne, Emma, and Juliet. They are 3 sisters. Their parents were murdered when they were younger, and it's been like 14 years, and they haven't talked to each other since. And now they're back, and one of them has decided to move back into the house, and things kind of go from there. It was interesting. You get perspectives of now and then from each of the sisters, and it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't anything rememberable about it, so that's why I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was just kind of okay. it's bummer because I think this is my first Mr. Thriller. No, it's not. I don't know. It's just, I want to love her books, but I just don't. So I don't want to bash anymore. So we'll just move on. Next up, I read Tessa Bailey's newest book. And Tessa Bailey's newest book, Fangirl Down. I'll read anything Tessa Bailey writes. I will admit, are they really great? No. They're good palate cleansers for me. They're good kind of just quick, fast reads that I really enjoy. This one was okay. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't the best. I just didn't love the romance in this one. So this one follows two characters, Well and Josephine. Well is a professional golfer. Wells used to be really great at golf, and now he just kind of sucks. And so he is just the grumpy guy. He cusses a lot. He's kind of like Happy Gilmore, if you he's just kind of the grumpy guy. And so nobody likes him anymore except for Josephine, who is his #1 fangirl. Anytime that he's in Florida, which is where she lives, she is always there with the son. She supports him all the time. And then he quits golf. And he's like, you know, done. You can leave. You can go home. You're not my fan anymore. And she's very heartbroken. And then basically he has a turn of heart. He has a change of heart. And he's like, I do want to maybe get back into golfing. So he approaches Josephine and he offers, you know, she owns her parents' kind of golf pro shop, and a hurricane hit Florida and it really decimated it. And so she really needs repair money. And so he's like, hey, how about you go be my caddy on the PGA Tour, hopefully I'm saying that right, to get some money. You can get where this is going. And it kind of goes on from there. It's like the caddy and golfer romance. It's kind of very insta-lovey, I will say. They both really like each other. I do like the diabetes representation in this book. I really loved it. As someone who has not known anything about diabetes, I have learned a lot in these past 2 months because my father-in-law, like I told you, he's having a lot of health struggles. He's also diabetic. Please forgive me, I don't know which type he is, but they're older, so we have to learn a lot about his blood sugar and how much insulin to give him and diets and stuff like that. And it is hard to learn. Like, oh my goodness, Josephine has to, if you're not familiar with diabetic, you know, you're basically insulin in your body doesn't work. You have to control your blood sugar by eating and insulin. You have to provide your own insulin, and sometimes your blood sugar can get too high, and sometimes it can get very dangerously low. Dexcom, all that kind of stuff. So I felt like I read this at the right time because it was in the midst of everything, and then she was talking about her diabetics, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm really, like I don't have diabetes, but I know someone that I love does, and we're having to deal very personally with that, and I know that's a lot to deal with. For me, I can't imagine for the person having diabetes. So I did enjoy that. But like I said, the romance was insta-lovey, and it was just a little too much for me. I don't know. It was 3.5. It wasn't the worst Tessa Bailey book I've read by any means, but it just kind of fits like kind of in the middle there. To another 3.5 for me, and that is At First Spite by Olivia Day. This is part of her brand new series. I will be continuing on with this series. This one just, again, I didn't love the romance. So this one we followed two characters, Athena and Matthew, which is so odd. I read this in a vlog, and I had said that my husband's name is Matthew, and my brother's dog's name is Athena. I was like, this is so weird. I don't know. Anyway, basically at the beginning of the book, Athena is getting married to Matthew's brother. I want to say his name's Johnny. I forget. But he breaks off with her because she overhears Matthew talking really bad about her, and he basically convinces his brother not to marry Athena. Now, many months later, she is living in this house, this very tiny house called Spite House, because in this town where he's from, a very small town in Maryland, there's like this tiny house that's like really like tiny. They kind of built it as a Spite House. She bought it for her fiance as a wedding gift, and guess what? She didn't have any money. She doesn't have any more money. She had to move here because of her job, and so she has to move into this really tiny house. And then who's her neighbor that's across the way is none other than Matthew. And she's like, you know what? This guy cost me my relationship. He cost me everything. I'm gonna make his life hell. I'm gonna listen to steamy audiobooks really loud. I'm gonna put scary things because he's scared easily, and basically it comes into a romance. And it was good. It dealt a lot with, it talked about a lot of heavier things like depression. Athena deals very greatly with depression in this book, which I thought the representation was great for that. But between the romance between Athena and Matthew, I wasn't just really connecting with it. That's just me personally. but I could see how other people could love it. I do love Olivia Dade's books, and I will continue to read them. This one just maybe wasn't one of my favorites by her. My favorite will always be Spoiler Alert, but it was a cute romance. I just think I wanted a little bit more from it. The fantasy I read, are you surprised? Me too. Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicilleri. I thought this was an adult fantasy. It is not. It is a YA one. That's not saying anything. I was trying to make my goal this year to read more like romantasy, and I picked up a YA fantasy, but that's okay. I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. This one is a world where witches were once revered. Like, they used to rule the land. They had these witch queens, and they did a lot of spells by like blood. They would cut their arms and make intricate scars, and that's how they would use to do spells. They would have to use fresh blood. And then the witches were hunted. Like, they decimated all the queens, they killed them all, and now witches are banned and they're hunted. So in this book we follow a character named Rune, who is a witch, but in secret. She does not like have any scars. She tries to save other witches because if they learn you're a witch, they kill you immediately. So she is known as the Crimson Moth. She kind of smuggles witches away and sends them away to different places, but nobody knows that she is the Crimson Moth. Then we also follow Gideon, who is like the #1 witch hunter, and his #1 enemy, the Crimson Moth. And so basically in this book, Gideon and Rune both decide to fake date. Like, she wants to date him to get more intel about where a witch is being held. He wants to fake date her because he wants to figure out who the Crimson Moth is. Either of them don't know, they want to fake date. But basically it's a cat and mouse game. They're each after each other. It was cute. No, it was good. I did want a little bit more world building, but for a YA fantasy, I thought it was pretty strong. I know that there's a sequel. I don't know if I'll read it or not. We'll have to see. I am interested, especially the way she ended it. It was very interesting, intriguing, and almost kind of dark for a YA fantasy. But if you're just a fan of like witchy books, I would recommend checking this one out. I have The Catch by Amy Lee. I also gave this one a 4 out of 5. This is a super cute small town romance where it's fake dating, also hate to love, and it was just adorable. So this book, we follow 2 characters, Mel and Evan. Mel is an Instagram influencer, and she's not doing the best, but she gets an opportunity to review this really great luxury hotel in Canada, and then she goes up there and they call her like, oh, it's actually next week, so sorry, can you find somewhere somewhat similar to, like, somewhere close to stay until next week? So she finds this really small fishing town, and then she finds this really kind of old, beat up B&B, if you will, and there she meets Evan, who is one of the owners. Him and his cousin own it, and they immediately don't like each other. He thinks that she's too pretty and posh. It's kind of like it happened one summer at Tessa Bailey, if you will. And then one day Evan is giving her like a tour of his boat, like of the sea and everything, and he falls in the water and he ends up in the hospital. Mel accompanies him, and she can't get in because they're like, you know, you have to be family. She's like, I'm his fiance. She didn't want him to be alone. And then all of a sudden his whole family comes in and they're all kind of estranged, and so they decide to kind of continue on with this fake dating to kind of bring their family together, his family together, I should say. It was super cute. I really enjoyed it. Definitely my favorite Amy Lee book. I love the romance. I love the small town. The familial vibes were really great. This is a great spring summer read, I will say, so I would highly recommend checking it out. And my favorite book of the month is Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. I was so nervous about this book, and I'm so glad I loved it. Like, I am so glad. This is a new vampire werewolf novel, and if you don't know me, hi, I'm Heather. I love vampires. I have since probably, I would say 2003. So either way, I love vampires. So when I heard that Ellie Hazelwood was going to take a different direction from her STEM novels into a vampire werewolf one, I was like, heck freaking yes. And I loved it. In this book, we follow Misery. That's right, her name is Misery, a vampire who, in this world, vampires, werewolves, and humans all do not get along. They all hate each other, you know, wars, all that kind of stuff. Basically, Misery is marrying Lo, who is one of the leaders of the clans of the werewolf, for a marriage of convenience, a marriage of peace, and she has to move to werewolf territory, and it kind of goes on from there. This is a very steamy book. It has a lot to do with alpha and mating and things like that, and it was kind of fan fiction. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I loved it. I loved the chemistry between Lo and Misery. I love Misery's kind of blossoming in this book. She's a vampire, and in this world, vampires are very cold and distant and not very revered as in a lot of other books, I think. And she's just always used to being alone, never feeling like she's belonged anywhere. And then she meets the werewolf pack, and it's just, I loved every second of it. 5 out of 5. If you want just a steamy vampire werewolf romance, like, this is the book for you. So there you have all of the books I read in February. So as we can see, one up from, you know, January. I hope that trend continues. I really, really do. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty good reading list for me. Again, with everything that's going on, that is how life goes, my friends. It is ups and downs, and a lot of times lately it has been down. But that's okay. It'll eventually go up, you know, soon. One could hope. I would love to know what you've read. Please leave it in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.